Welcome to another city update video. So today we'll be working on another expansion over here. Let's go. So I'm going to start with the sign that's going to enter us and welcome you into this lovely new expansion called Paradise Drive. So let's build it with some basic quartz pillar, and there we go. We're just going to fill it with stone and andesite and clean up this side as well. There we go, so now we can get designing some facades like we did before, where we can get an idea of the build style and then start putting things together. So I've got these three facades which are sort of fusing our tropical style with the sort of Miami style. So next I'd like to design an older style building. So here we are, this is like an older LA style building, and this is going to line our central street with shops. So let's get right into building the central street, shall we? There we go, it's pretty rough already, but as you can see we've got a nice bike lane separated from the road with some nice tough blocks and stairs to add some depth. The sight lines here are pretty cool, so as you can see we've stepped some areas back, so let's get placing the rest of the buildings in. Alright, so as you can see here, I've tried to architecturally blend the buildings with the tropical motel buildings. I think it works pretty well. Okay, I've got one piece of advice for you. Never use sloped roofs, it's so much harder to design complex buildings. But I think I've got the ones on the left to turn out well, and the one behind me turned out pretty well as well. So yes, it connects with this nice alleyway behind it. And moving on to the central street, we need to make this street a bit more interesting. Just try and ignore this side for now, we'll get to that in another episode. And I wouldn't worry about the roundabout there, we're going to move it back anyway. So continuing with our rapid progress, I'm going to add another central street building here with these rounded corners. I think it looks pretty cool. And I've also finished the base of the 3-story building, and finally we can get on to this area, our grand plaza. Now I've got big plans for this area, so let's quickly finish off what we've already done with some work on the base. Now here it's important to leave almost no stone unturned when you're doing the pavement. Basically, the more textural variety and detail, the better. And then you can move on to my favourite bit. The palm trees, short palm trees, medium palm trees, and then I've squeezed in a few tall palm trees almost in pairs, like round the back here where they fit in between two buildings. You can also bend the base a bit, which adds some realism. And our little detail over here, we've got some covered parking spaces, and I've added some gloomy lights in there. Anyway, back to our big expansion. I'm sorry, I got carried away with the details on this build here. So you can see I've sort of blended the Mission Revival style with the slightly tropical style of the buildings next to it. And that California style is something I've carried over to this building here. Now this is meant to be sort of a shopping mall that will be connected to a railway station the other side of the road. And so we'll use some sky bridges to cross the road there. And now we can add some more colourful buildings to this side of the road as well. So I've made these buildings pink and blue, which is quite striking, but I think it actually works well in the context that this is a fun resort town. You don't want everything just becoming beige, really. Okay, so next I would like to fill this courtyard area with a nice water feature. So what I'm thinking is a nice L-shaped pond with a bridge across the middle, and then maybe some seating and palm trees around it, which will provide a nice ambience. So here we are. You can see I've tried to build some like rolled up parasols. I don't know how effective it is. And we've got the same sort of variety of textures on the pavement. So let's continue finishing up to finish the video. Let's go. So let's start with the roofs. We're going to have the sort of two-tiered system where one bit's going to be publicly accessible, but the other bit's just going to be andesite. And now let's do the roof of this building as well. Now I'd like to have an alleyway sort of behind it, so let's sort of paste it there. So you can see we've sort of got an alleyway there, which is very small and very cramped. Okay everybody, so I've got this pipe in here. It's always a nice detail. We're also doing the finishing details of just this little lip here. And now we've got a spooky alleyway. Ooh. And I'll add some bins in there to make it even more unpleasant. I've decided to move this pond down one. It definitely looked a bit awkward being one block raised up, and now you can see it just sort of opens up the sight lines and works really well if you're sitting there at those tables. And we're now able to fit in a few more tables because I've moved those two palm trees closer together. Let's just finish that, there we go. Now a little tip is for little window framings, you can use iron doors. And iron trapdoors if it's a smaller window. Okay, we've got this roof done, another sloped roof, and I've also got this balcony overlooking the spooky alleyway. You might have noticed this random building behind me. Well, that's a topic for a future time-lapse video, so stay tuned for that and subscribe, as that should be coming out hopefully pretty soon. Anyway, let's just add some more details to the base of this building here. Let's add some more entrances to make this little courtyard a bit more inviting, and some bicycle parking. But we'll also add some bins to make it feel lived in. There we go, a nice place to enter I think. Just finishing things off. Alright everyone, we've got a smaller in comparison curved palm tree, and some torch flowers on this rather wild flower bed. So now we're going to do some more covered parking spaces. So here you can see I've used some trapdoors to give the inference of some like bars that go across the top. Nice little space. Okay, so there we go, Paradise Drive. Well, the first part at least anyway. I'd love to get on to building the train station, which is going to go direct to a future airport. So stay tuned for that and make sure to subscribe, as I'm sure it's going to be pretty fun. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and if you could leave a like if you enjoyed the video, I'd so appreciate that. Bye.